Hi, everybody. So nice to be here with you again this month. In this month's video titled, Do You Want to Be Right or Do You Want to Be Free? Let's jump in and discuss what this means and how we do this unconsciously all day, every day, until we actually understand something that I'm going to share with you today that is so pivotal, it will change your life. It changed mine. It changes my clients. It can literally change your life when you drop it down from understanding and the area of logic and conscious thinking down into the subconscious terrain, and it anchors there as a truth. When that happens, the way we perceive everything changes. So the question is, because this is the bargain I want you to become aware of, is do you want to be right or do you want to be free? We can't occupy both and experience the future that you want, right? Because typically, where you're fighting to be right is keeping you tangled up in lack, in anger, in judgment, in defensiveness. None of those states are a match to ease and independence and abundance and awareness and creativity and flow. They are not the same state. So you've got to choose. And we don't think we have that power. And this is why I felt this video was really important to share. What it typically means is we have to choose to let go of the past. That means putting down the injustices, even though they were injustices. That means realizing that people can only give you what they are capable of, to the degree that they've done any personal work on themselves. That's it. That is all they are capable of. So you start to see it becomes futile if you try to expect them to change. And that's what we expect when we want to be right. You need to do X, Y, and Z so that I feel better. But that's never going to happen. You can't control that, right? When you start to understand this logically, choosing to let go of the past pain, putting down those injustices, realizing that people can only give you what they're capable of to the degree that they've done any personal work on themselves. When that actually lands not here, but here, in the feeling tone, in the emotional centers, in the heart, where it's been coded in and programmed in through those events that caused pain, where the subconscious mind is holding on to it now, that's how we perceive the world. We're going to weigh it against that pain. And we think that other people have to change in order to heal our own pain. But that's not a true statement. That's only a true statement if you require to be right. If you don't require to be right, if you choose to be free, then you can recognize that they're not capable of giving you what you need. They're not capable of accepting responsibility for something that happened to you that caused you pain. When that lands in the subconscious and anchors there, something extraordinary happens. And what that is you become the authority of your own life. Right then and there, you become the authority. I now decide what I'm going to make things mean. As an adult person today, present time, with an adult rational mind, doing my own personal work, because I choose to be free. And people who are free don't see any value in fighting to be right, which means making someone else who wronged them take responsibility for it. They don't see any value in that. That is something that you will tangle up in for the rest of your life because you're powerless to it. It's contingent on the other person changing. We can't control other people's behavior. We have no idea of the evolutionary path that they are on. Particularly if you have an expansive belief system, if you believe that we have more than one life experience. Some people do, some people don't. Either way, if you do, it expands that even further because you have no idea karmically. You have no idea what they're experiencing, what their soul wants them to learn in each lifetime. And if you believe it's just this one precious life, then do you want to lose the next 10 years trying to make someone else take responsibility if they refuse to? Trying to control someone else's behavior when we have no idea what their life lessons are is a waste of energy. It's a complete energy drain, and it's none of our business, right? That's God's work. That's the universe's work. That's not my work. So how do we start to anchor this in the subconscious mind? How do we actually start to make this shift, this transition? First, we have to learn to contemplate that bargain I mentioned earlier. The bargain that we've been making with ourselves, because we don't think in those terms. We think in terms of you wronged me, therefore you need to do something about it to make it right with me. We don't think, what am I doing to myself holding on to this? We don't think that way. We don't realize that the people that you feel that wronged you, they don't have the same story about it. They have their version, likely skewed towards their being right, or their being a victim, or their being the center of the story. Because that's what all of our brains do. So we have to start to understand that the stories that we tell ourselves and what we hang on to, this actual act of choosing to hold on to them is a choice. We don't think they are, but they are. And it's that choice of holding on to that story that's actually causing our suffering in present time. It's not the event of the past that's still causing you pain. It's the choice you're making to still tell that story, waiting to be right in order to be vindicated, validated. That choice, that's what's causing your suffering present day by our own hand. And before you judge yourself for it, it's unconscious, it's subconscious. So there's no judgment here. We be gentle as we contemplate. Could I be doing this by my own thoughts, beliefs, and actions? Isn't that interesting? And that means there's a door. That means as I investigate it and contemplate it, I get to decide something else. Then I'm the authority of this. I get to decide what this means, right? When we realize that it's not the event of the past, that that's what we believe it is, because that was the origin of pain, it's actually the story that little baby floof version of you, younger you, smaller version of you, that got hurt in that event. It's baby you that's still telling that story today. It's smaller you, innocent you, younger you, had no resources you. And that version of you still lives inside of you. And it's still telling that story. And the subconscious mind is still trying to protect baby you from ever experiencing that pain again. So then the only option it has to make this congruent internally is, I need to have something happen that makes baby you feel okay. And the story we tell is the other person who wronged us needs to recognize that and apologize for that or make remunerations for that. And then I will be okay. But can you imagine what that looks like in the world? That means everybody owes everybody something, everywhere, all the time. Is that going to work? Is that sustainable? Are people going to overnight develop rational adult minds that say, yes, I see that now. I'm doing my personal work. I absolutely see that. No. So we have to decide. We have to decide that that younger version of us is not who we are today, and that we have resources and we can make that decision to put that down. When we realize that it's the younger version of us that we're really trying to soothe, then we also realize there really isn't anything to fix, right? You realize that you're not broken. You realize that people are just people, doing what they can, the best that they can, or the worst that they can, with what they have and who they are. It's just people showing you who they are and what they're capable in those moments. If we could take it out of it being personal, we can eliminate so much of that pain. Maybe mom and dad were really critical. Maybe mom and dad were really traumatic. That wasn't about you. That was about them. And they likely had it handed down from grandmom and granddad. So we have to start to see, we don't give people a pass. We don't deny our own pain, but we start to heal it by saying, this is all they were capable of, and it wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. But I made it about me because it felt really personal. I made it mean something about me, and I'm still trying to heal that belief that little version of me is walking around feeling. But what if I can do that all by myself? Even the worst acts of pain from wounded people, they come from wounded people who never healed. They just passed their wounding on. Do I want that? They weren't capable of more, but am I? Yes. Yes, I am. Or I wouldn't be having this conversation. I wouldn't be watching this video. I wouldn't be having these thoughts. I am capable of thinking and believing this way about myself, because otherwise this information wouldn't resonate. It wouldn't even be in your vicinity of awareness. So yes, you are. If you decide here and now to take this a step further, then you get to be the authority of your own life. Who doesn't spend the rest of their life trying to make people take responsibility for their behavior so that they can be okay? They just decide to be okay and get on with creating the amazing life that they want to have. But that's the bargain you're making. If you need to be right about your past, then you're never free from it. But if you choose to be free, you can put it down and open up to all of the possibilities of the things that you want. So the first step to that, the first and foremost important thing to do, is to contemplate whether or not you still want to tell that story. And if you can sacrifice that need to be right, to be vindicated, to be validated for your freedom and your peace, if you decide right now to put that down, to let go of that story, to not tell that story anymore, what does that start to look like? How much energy do you gain back by saying, this was all they were capable of, and it wasn't about me, and I'm not going to say those things anymore. I'm not going to say those things about them. I'm not going to use that as my story for why things don't work out for me today. I'm not going to justify what I don't want. I'm not going to dig in and justify the pain that I have that I don't believe I can solve, whether it's emotional pain, physical pain, a disease label. These are all conversations. Everything that you feel in your body is trying to work you back into a conversation of wholeness, right? Your spirit knows where you're meant to go. It knows the path that you're on. And these things come in as a way for us to grow, as a way for us to come back to our own autonomy. When we choose our own autonomy, I choose to be free instead of in pain. I choose to take responsibility completely for myself and all the learning that comes with that. When we start to talk like that, everything starts to shift. Because now we're saying, I can handle it. I can handle it. I can celebrate all the good things, and I can grow, and I can learn, and I can evolve through the challenges. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to blame other people. I'm going to see it as the opportunities. Where did society decide that anytime there was a challenge, it meant something was wrong? Where did we decide that? And do we still want to believe that? I know I don't. That doesn't serve me. It didn't serve me in my past, and this is where I started to understand all the work that I was doing. And as I applied it, it changed everything, and it can change everything for you too. If you decide right now to put that story down and focus on creating a different one, you will change your life. And you may start to bump into some things. You may bump into things where you don't want to be hard on yourself, but you might realize, this story has actually gotten me things sometimes. Maybe it got me a little more attention. Maybe it got me a little more compassion. Maybe people felt bad for me. Maybe that was the way that I connected with others. Maybe that was our mutual story together. Oh, you went through so much. I went through so much. We can be here for each other in a positive, but it's a negative being spun as a positive that's still keeping you from having what you want. So you've got to look at the bargain that you're making with yourself without judging yourself for it, and just decide, this got me the results that I have. Am I happy with them? Do I want to keep them? Or do I have more in store? Do I have dreams and I don't want to give up on those dreams? But they're scary and I'm not sure how I can create them, how I can make them happen. That's the personal journey. That's where we start to do the internal work that sets you free. Then nothing and no one ever is the authority of you ever again. And not because you have to be the boss all the time, but just simply because you get to be free and your life is your own, of your own creation, of your own making, of your own enjoyment. And when the challenges come, you work through them because you're capable. I'm capable. I can figure that out. And I'm going to take something away from that where I realize maybe I was stronger, maybe I was more resilient, maybe I was more capable than I ever believed I was. That challenge had some gift properties to it. I'm okay. I don't need someone else to validate or vindicate me. This is where all of your energy comes back and can be flowed to all of the other things you want to spend your time on that you usually say, I don't have any time for. I'm too tired. I'm too ill. Things don't work like that for me. We have to start to change that whole story around and where your energy is going. Your body knows how to heal itself. Your spirit knows the dreams you have for your life. There's a plan. But whether or not you are on board flowing with the plan or working against the plan, feeling that incongruency within you, is just what you're experiencing without any judgment. But you don't have to stay there permanently. But it requires you to have a conversation about whether or not you want to still fight to be right or whether you want to be free. That was a conversation I thought worthy of having. If I can help you in any way, the website is megadamsonhypnotherapy.com. You can fill out the form. We can set up a 30-minute free consultation to talk about the things you want to dive into, if you want to fast track that path. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. I wish you a wonderful next month, and I'll see you again in about 4 weeks. Bye for now.